Today we're gathering around the campfire with Karen, a QHS member whose life is as exciting and grounding as a hike through the mountains. But what trails did she tread to reach these heights? Let's trek into the wilderness and discover the adventures that led Karen to where she is today.
Hello, I'm Karen, and I live in Colorado. I'm here to share my backstory and stamp this moment in time as the beginning of my journey with QArc. I was born in the 50s in Detroit, Michigan. I came in as a preemie at 5 pounds, and unfortunately, it set the stage for future health issues to come. My heritage, it's rooted in my grandparents' immigration stories. On Mom's side, they were from Poland. On Dad's side, they were from Greece. Grandpa George from Greece was an amazing man. Everyone loved George. He owned a popular and booming cafe in Detroit, and he did great. My Polish grandpa, Alexander, and his family, they also lived in Detroit. He acquired his fortune through real estate investments. Tragically, Grandpa Alexander's life was cut short when he was struck and killed by a car as he crossed the street. His untimely accident ended his plan to buy homes as gifts for his 6 daughters, including my mom and his only son, Walter. It was an incredibly devastating time for my mom's family. I'm sad I never had the chance to meet him. My grandmothers, they were champion stay-at-home moms. They were excellent cooks and whipped up delicious meals and baked bread every single day. They adored and supported their families. Unlike today, when my grandparents came to America, they never relied on government handouts. They were proud Americans. They worked hard to earn their money and paid taxes like everyone else. And they did exceptionally well. Dad and Mom and us 3 kids, we started in Detroit, but we moved to Florida in the early 50s. I'm not sure of the details, but after living in Florida for I think it was 3 years, we took a trip to Michigan to visit my grandparents. On the way, we were involved in a horrible car accident. I was very young, so the details are hazy. Years later, Mom told me a drunk teenager lost control of his car and crashed into ours on the other side of the freeway. My dad saw the airborne vehicle just before it slammed into the driver's side of our 4-door car. He turned the wheel and took most of the impact. The windshield shattered, sending flying glass into his face and body. The power of that blow caused the steering wheel to crunch hard into my dad, causing internal injuries, including a rupture of his spleen. The dashboard, it crushed my mother's knee. Amazingly, my toddler brother was asleep on her lap. There wasn't even a scratch on him. My older brother and I were in the back seat, and he suffered a skull fracture. My mom told me that somehow part of the car's fender had embedded in his head. Luckily, I had only sprains in both ankles and on my wrist. When people look at the pictures of that demolished car, they can't believe that anyone in our family survived that crash. My brother and Dad's hospital stay and recovery were lengthy ordeals, but we all persevered through that ordeal. That day greatly changed the course of our lives forever. And I don't recall how long, but we lived with my grandparents during the time my family recovered from that accident. Many months afterward, my dad moved us to California, where we stayed from 1960 through the 90s. Dad believed his occupation would do well in California. He was a talented custom cabinet maker, but I remember him working various sales jobs too. That man had the gift of gab, and sales was just another one of his talents that he'd fall back on if necessary. Mom was a great cook and a homemaker, and she had several jobs. She worked in retail sales. She also worked as a secretary at a Catholic school where my younger brother and I attended. Gee, that was a lot of fun when I got into trouble. Not. I had two siblings, a brother 18 months younger and another 5.5 years older. Being in the middle was always a hoot. As a kid, I remember being smart enough not to hang around those two during living room spitball slingshot wars. I'd grab a pillow, a book, or something to draw on, lock myself in the bathroom, hop in the tub, empty of course, and relax until their war games were over. So you see, out of necessity, I developed my survival skills at a young age. Sadly, my older brother, at the age of 62, died of heart failure. One good memory is my big, strong brother playing jacks with me. I always look forward to that special connection with him. Both my parents, they've also passed, but my younger brother is alive and also a QHS member. My childhood was hectic, but fun. I was a tomboy, and in one neighborhood we lived, there were all boys on the block. So if I wanted interactive playtime, it included boys and their choice of games: baseball, football, dodgeball, or other sports. Fortunately, I was very athletic and competitive, so it was a blast for me. Here's an unforgettable trauma during that time. I decided to roller skate down the steep road we lived on. That was a terrible idea. As I gained speed, a neighborhood boy ran out toward me, waving his arms and throwing me off balance. I fell hard, skidding on the pavement for what felt like forever, on my knees, forearms, and my elbows. I was a bloody mess. Somebody called my parents, and my dad drove our car down to where I lay sprawled in shock on the road. He examined me to assess the damage, gently picked me up, put me in the car, and drove me home. You know, he had tears in his eyes. Back at the house, he took me into the bathroom, gently set me down, got the peroxide, tweezers, and a roll of gauze, and started digging out embedded stones from my knees. And he cleaned me up. My knees looked like raw hamburger. My left knee was the worst. My forearms and elbows were like bloody birds with skin scraped off. My knees looked like raw hamburger. And that night was a living hell. Mom got up during the night to check on me. She cooled me off with a wet washcloth, putting it on my forehead. She gave me aspirin and some cool water. I was burning up. To this day, I still have the scar on my left knee, and I believe there's 1 or 2 stones still in there. If I could describe my family dynamics, I'd compare it to that movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. We didn't have the number of relatives living close to us as the family in that movie had, but what we lacked in the number of relatives, we made up for in volume. Growing up, I pursued my education, including several years of college. But you know what? I found public school unengaging. Although I was popular with lots of friends and I did well in school, I was restless and eager to explore the world's mysteries, experience life, and learn on my own terms. And that goes along with my being a rebel. I didn't like it back then, and I still don't like being told what to do. I prefer using critical thinking to figure things out, structured curriculums, confinement, because I love being outdoors in nature, and rules and regulations never resonated with me. I'm more of a leader than a follower, and I value my privacy. Okay, here's some things about me. I'm an artist. I started drawing cartoons, actually cartoon characters, at a very young age, and I'm pretty good at it. I also love drawing and painting animals and other things of interest. Also, with excellent cooks on both sides of my family, it was easy to develop a passion for cooking, and I'm pretty darn good at it too. Cooking is my way of showing love for family and friends, and food works every time. I love to write stories and poetry. I use writing to vent and express my feelings about everything. Writing and my artwork are also excellent forms of meditation for me. After dealing with numerous major surgeries and related health issues, red flags went up for me regarding flaws in the medical industry. I concluded that I needed to take my health and my pet's health into my own hands. I changed my views, adapted my approach to healthcare, and changed my dietary lifestyle. I'm into homeopathic, naturopathic, and frequency healing modalities. I follow only organic vegetarian lifestyle. Water's essential, and I drink only structured water. I never drink bottled water or from the tap. Frankly, our water's compromised. It's really in bad shape. I love animals, and for 25 years, I've done research to address their problems. I do the same type of research for humans, too. Tesla is my mentor. I studied his work and learned about the healing power of frequencies, including Rife, Scalar, and other frequency healing technologies. And I learned how to do treatments. This is why hearing about QHS quickly got my attention. In the 1980s, I studied and received certification to become an esthetician. For 22 years, I owned several skincare clinics and 3 successful day spas. I researched and developed my own skincare product line, and my business thrived. I love serving and helping people to feel and look good and be confident. Post QArc, I plan to keep up that passion and continue to serve others through humanitarian projects regarding health issues and other events during my life. Let's see, at the age 10, I had surgery on my feet to remove 2 extra bones. 17, tonsils removed. 26, I had a gallbladder removed, and I wasn't fair, fat, and 40. At 30, after suffering for years with excruciating, painful, and heavy periods, I was diagnosed with severe endometriosis. At the age of 32, I had major surgery to take out a large endometrioma, and one of my ovaries was removed. At 33, I married my first husband. A year later, after going through an infertility program, I had an ectopic pregnancy. And again, another major surgery. My marriage ended after 4 years. It was a difficult time. Eventually, I came to terms with my inability to bear children. So, to express my maternal instincts, I chose furry kids and my nieces and nephews instead. At 40, I married the love of my life, my best friend, and a great guy. We've been together for 3 decades. He's also a QHS member. And he's waiting for his do-over too. At 41, I developed another endometrioma on my remaining ovary and ended up having a complete hysterectomy. Okay, moving on to 2023. That's the year a friend introduced me to QHS with my knowledge of healing frequencies. And hearing the QHS slogan, "Frequency is everything," it instantly resonated as truth for me. And it took me 5 seconds to sign up as a member. Also, 2023 was a challenging year for me. Ironically, in the fall, the month of September, I experienced a nasty vertigo attack and fell hard on the pavement, ending up with multiple hip fractures. After major surgery to repair my hip, I suffered an adverse reaction to the drugs used during the surgery. After being released from the hospital following a couple of procedures to address an impaction resulting from my body's reaction to those drugs, I ended up bedridden for 30 days. Seriously, it's the worst thing I've ever been through. And you know, I really thought my time was up, but it wasn't. I've always been sensitive to harsh pain meds. And after a friend overdosed on Vicodin and died in the 90s, and I think she was only in her early 30s, I stopped taking them entirely. With the hip surgery, I warned the doctors about my sensitivities, but they said I'd be okay with the special pain cocktail they gave me, but I wasn't. Thankfully, QHS came to my rescue with my urgent request for the V6, which was a lifesaver. And later, the V9 further reduced the pain and considerably amplified my healing. My future looks incredibly bright. How could it not be? I'm keeping all the wisdom and knowledge I've gained in a lifetime while looking as youthful as I was in my 30s. Wow, what's not to like about that? All my unwanted health issues will be resolved, and my energy levels will be off the chart. I'm going to be unstoppable. Since March of 2023, I've been involved in the QHS Proof-of-Concept Trial studies, which included the Black V6, V9 devices, and the Touch. The QArc will integrate everything to help heal all my conditions, including tinnitus, the essential tremors that you're seeing and hearing out of my voice right now, high blood pressure, vertigo, imbalance, and dizziness. It will also restore my hip, normalize this shaky voice, heal my gut, and reverse my age. This new chapter holds so much promise. I'm filled with hope and endless possibilities and a chance for a fresh start. And I'm eager to see the results of my long-awaited QArc do-over. and discovered where this path will lead me. Now, I'd like to share a poem I wrote recently. And let's see, what did I title it? Karen's QArc Miracle. This poem mirrors the humor and the joy I'm going to feel after my do-over. Here it goes. I stare at the mirror and I'm stunned to see a younger, healthier Karen looking back at me. Marietta lines, age spots, and circles under eyes are gone. I'm so overjoyed, I belt out a song. No more double chin that sports wild chin hairs too. Ah, and that sagging turkey neck has flown the coop. I'm struck with awe as I look back at flawless, smooth skin. I'm so happy I twirl in a ballerina spin. I note my green eyes, sparkling bright once again with a twinkle. Smiling, I wink back at myself and shout, adios, at all those wrinkles. My eyes travel over my body, and I marvel at how trim and firm it is. Yay! Ha ha, minus those cellulite dimples. A rush of excitement fills my mind. Realize my boo-boo bladder has skedaddled. Whoopee, no more tinkles. And hallelujah, I'm thrilled. My southbound girls are perky again and have returned north, along with other body parts, back to their rightful places, of course. Thank you, Dr. Alfredo, Cynthia, Wade, and all you admin angels. You guys are the best to finally put Karen's old worn-out body to rest and replace it with one that's absolutely the best. Praise the Lord. In conclusion, I want to share a drawing of the Peanut character Lucy I created. Actually, I didn't create it. Bill Schultz created Lucy. But she's my alter ego. In a few words, she expresses her thoughts about QHS and me after my QArc do-over. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my backstory. Goodbye, God bless you, and may 2025 be the QArc miracle year for all of us.
Join us on the Prequel, where every story matters and every voice is heard. Because here at QHS, we're all about healing, learning, and growing together.